Alright, y'all. So I've been baiting. I've been saying I'm gonna do this shit for a while, but I really just wanted to let this shit simmer. But I'm about to yap for a little while about JJK Modulo because this is my shit. Modulo, however you want to call it. I'm really liking what we're doing. I think Gege is onto something here, and I want to talk about it. Okay, so our story starts 68 years in the future. That's Yuta Okotu, and that's Maki Zenin. These are both of their grandkids. And basically start the story by learning about their conflict about Rika's old ring that Yuta had. He gave it to his granddaughter as a charm for a protective charm. But the Gojo clan that, he ended up being the leader of, took the ring from her and gave it to her brother. Probably because they thought he was too weak because he didn't have a curse technique. But he is heavily restricted, by the way, just like Maki. Okay, but this the real part of the JJK. We have the Samorians. Yes, we have aliens in JJK, and we're full-blown Boruto. But beyond the jokes, this is Maru. This is the main first alien that we meet. He basically goes along with Tsurugi, and Yuka on their first mission in order for them to, fight off some curse users and such like that. And your boy right here, we find out he has a third eye that has Conqueror's hockey in it. So once that happens, we find out that the aliens are really here. But we've also learned that Jujutsu society has changed a lot since we learned them, since we had it when we were with Yuji. Jujutsu is basically known around the world. It leads kids and more people to human trafficking over in Japan because they know about the renewable energy source from cursed energy. It leads to them being kind of in charge of all the creepy alien curse shit that goes on around because they leave all the paranormal stuff to them now. So that's why they speak to them rather than America. But basically, we just learned that Jujutsu society has changed for the better, honestly, because of all the hard work that Gojo, Yuji, and Arceus did. So that's a good thing to see. But that also leads us into this, where we're basically seeing the Samorians and the humans try to politic their way into peace without trying to avoid a conflict, but being able to still live amongst each other. And to add to all this politic changes, Samorians on the earth, we have this guy. And we'll talk about how he's not necessarily just the Samorians and with them in the same light, but they are with this guy. He's on their team. They're relying on his power, and he's obviously the Sukuna level threat we're talking about. So the aura farming here is ridiculous, but this is basically the threat that we have to worry about when we first get introduced. Now, I'll say if you guys are going through every single chapter, like the Tiger chapter, certain chapters we'll just bunch together. But this is basically the main big sting that we have next is this fight between this patchwork guy is what we call him, and then Maru when he's kind of asleep. We see a nice little fight between him and Tsurugi first, and even Yuka hops in there for a couple blows. But this was the real fight because we got to see Maru start to do something, and Maru looks absolutely busted. He was changing the trajectory of something he threw. He was boiling water, then he was cooling it down, then he was levitating shit. Like Maru was just doing a whole bunch of shit. Like in the sense of a curse technique. Maru doesn't even know what that is, by the way. We've heard him straight up not know what a curse technique is and be like, what is that? So maybe they don't call it that on Samora, but like the amount of abilities he has, and obviously has something to do with that eye. The amount of abilities that he has, I don't even know if it can just be one curse technique. Like, it doesn't even make any sense. But he basically makes short word of this guy, who was giving Yuka and Tsurugi the business before this. Even Maru got knocked out messing with him before. So the fact that he was able to come back, fantastic. And might I add, my goat was mentioned by this dude too, but we'll get there later. We'll get there. I didn't say it, but that stop was basically stopped by his brother, Maru's twin brother, Cross. Cross put an end to the fight. And after that, because of Tsurugi's words, he was interested in getting to know humans a little bit better before he started making his own judgments. So he tagged along with Yuka, who could see that as well, that she was trying to figure it out. She knew it wasn't Maru. And she brought him to this, which is, gay, please don't do this to me. He has Yuka basically dying in the next 6 months to a brain tumor. Please don't do this to me. Don't do this to me. And this is basically, we take a big hard skip into learning the backstory of Cross and Maru. And this is about the Samorian race, the difference between the Diskunte and the Rumelians. The Rumelians are like Maru and Cross with the third eye, and the Diskunte is like that dude I showed you earlier, Deborah, with the horn. And basically, the Diskunte just keep pushing the Rumelians out of their land because they're not strong enough, essentially, because they can't really stop them. The strong are really kind of leading the way. Now, there was a character we meet, my goat, that reminds me of Gojo. And we have Dora. Dora is basically Marlon Cross's mentor, and he's the one that's very much trying to teach them that neighborliness, companionship that he wants the Diskunte and the Samorians, or the Rumelians, to have on planet Samora. And he's trying to do that by creating this canal that he's been working out with Cross and them since they were kids. Whoop-de-whoop-de-woo. Everything is going good until a chieftain's daughter is killed by one of the Kallion is what they were called. These beasts that grow, that are from planet Samora, and that they never die, X, Y, and Z. They sacred beasts, basically, to the Rumelians, and they only hunted the Skute. They kill one of their daughters. And after that, that's when the conflict arises. And now, they need violence to solve the problem, but Dora here refuses to fight, and that same dude we showed you earlier, Deborah, ends up killing him because of that. This leads Cross and the other Rumelians to leave some planet Samora altogether after they find this new mineral that Dora had hidden away for them. They went to another planet using that to create a ship and come to Earth, and that's how they ended up coming here. And now we're in the conflict of what we're dealing with now, where we're trying to basically stop the cycle of hatred of. And this even leads to in this last recent chapter that we have, where the flashback is over and we've now figured out their backstory, where now we're dealing with the Jujutsu society that's much more public. Like we know before, they would always be behind those screens. Now they're much more public, more Yuji and Gojo stuff. But this is basically them talking about what Maru did and how they can be dangerous, and how they're letting the Rumelians, Samorians, how they know them as, getting a little too much, getting carried away. They're letting them do too much and be too free, which they want to show them by them showing Deborah. They want to show them their ace up the hole, which is our boy Yuji Itadori. No, sir, I did not mistake that. Yuji Itadori is back. Yuji has been my GOAT since we were arguing about Yuta and him back in the day, so I ain't gonna go too much in depth, but my GOAT being back is a very, very big deal. And we basically, with the last chapter, chapter 10, we finish off with the Rumelians basically and ready to kind of make peace with us for now. We're starting to get to that breaking point. We've been able to reach one more goal of, all right, now we're still going to try for coexistence. So now the next chapter, we're getting this dinner, and we're going to see how things go. Basically, just to finish off my thoughts on everything, kind of. I'll make more videos. I'll make shorts. We're going to start a little community here, guys. So we're going to be talking about JJK Modulo a lot. But basically, my thoughts on this new world is, you know, I'm very excited. Or this new story, I should say. I'm very excited. I actually really like the what Gege's doing here. The cycle of hatred. I like the inherent xenophobia that he showed us with Deborah. When we first saw him, Sukuna level threat. We thinking this guy's about to be a menace to society, and he's the most chill dude ever. I like Yuji being brought up as really the strongest we have out here, and we have to use him, and how he's being kept in the tuck for now. I like the idea of Tsurugi and his sister Yuka looking for the legacy between Maki and Yuta and trying to figure out how they can live up to it. I like everything about it so far. Everything about this story so far has honestly genuinely been good, and that's why I wanted to wait a little bit, because I knew at first I wanted to just release stuff for hype because JJK was back. But now, actually seeing the story, I'm very, very, very interested in where we're going and what he's going to show us. So we'll be going through that week by week, chapter by chapter. We won't have videos this long every week. We'll be much more in a concise format, and we'll be able to go through each chapter with a lot more pace. So sorry for such scattered around thoughts, but please, if you could subscribe, like the video, do whatever you got to do. Please tag along and join the family. We got a lot more anime content coming. And I almost forgot. I don't know what this is. I have no idea. I can't even explain to you. But yo, Mahito.